I am something of a vintage story veteran. I've played through the game's entire storyline and documented it on my channel. I've survived brutal winters, both on my YouTube and private worlds, and even reached the dreaded steel production endgame. But there's one thing I have never done. I have never played vintage story in co-op, so it's time to fix that. In this 100 days, both me and my new to the game wife will try to survive the harshness of vintage story together. We'll progress through parts of the storyline, dive into dungeon adventures.
Oh my god, I wanna live here.
And most importantly, build a cozy place to live while trying to manage dwindling supplies and starvation during the longest winter I have ever experienced in this game. And all that in one of the most dangerous, predator-filled places I have ever settled. This is our 100 days in vintage story co-op. It grinds into lime, we are saved! After some setting up and some character creation, we spawned in for the very first time in vintage story.
Nice. Oh, what is that?
And the first thing my wife did was pick up some unknown berries from some unknown bushes and eat them immediately. We will have to work on her survival instincts, but I like the enthusiasm. And a moment later we've noticed a merchant camp.
These are traders.
Yeah.
Can we talk to them? Hi. It sounds like he's farting.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those merchant camps before in this game, even after playing several hundred hours. But I'm glad we did, since trading is an important mechanic in the game, and my wife got exposed to merchants very early on, and this knowledge will come back to us later. After talking to them, we stormed inside one of their caravans to explore. We can sleep in their beds, but I don't think we can actually use anything here, or take anything either.
Still their bed.
After that, we continued to explore the surrounding area.
It's different berries. I'm just collecting berries so I wouldn't starve.
And spotted yet another thing I have never seen in my life before.
What is that?
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what this is. I have never seen this.
I heard someone talking.
There's someone inside. Yeah, apparently it was a treasure hunter hut or something like that anyway. Almost feels like I am the one new to the game here, because this is yet another thing I have never witnessed like ever. We marked the location of the treasure hunter for later, and hey, we can see each other on the map. That is kind of neat, and I didn't know that's a thing. After that, a small lesson in wild plants and why we should gather them.
Because I'm a woman?
No, because we're gonna later plant them.
I have to cook them as well. What else am I supposed to do? Clean the house?
And then a small lesson in tool making.
Stone tools?
Yeah, try to cut a tree with your hands.
Is that a tricky request?
It is a tricky request. It seems like you're having some issues here.
I have patience.
So we started looking around for flint chunks for napping. And we're gonna use actually flint to make the tools.
I have to read in this game.
You can read? After that snarky comment, we immediately got attacked by a wild bear.
What the
And by we, I mean mostly her, and I was just capturing every moment.
What am I supposed to do?
Just run as fast as you can.
What the is that? What is this anomaly?
That's not a problem right now. And after a short moment, the bear switched targets. Well, at least we know it's pro-equal rights. Not to mention, he was fast as hell. I've never actually seen bears run this fast in this game. But after some time, we managed to barely escape. Note to future self, bears are somehow faster here and do not approach. And after we calmed down a bit, we started making first tools by napping.
Ooh, that's so satisfying. It's like power wash. And what do you do with it?
Do
you put it on a stick?
Yeah, exactly. You actually do, yeah. So we grabbed a stick from the local stick market and then created our first flint tools.
That's nice. I need to make a spear.
Spear.
And since it was getting pretty dark, and we have only started scraping the surface of Vintage Story online lessons, we decided to go to sleep in the merchant's camp, even if the only thing they had was a bunch of hay beds. And in the morning we continued, this time prime focus being finding shelter.
all while still explaining some of the concepts of the game, like the inventory system.
Why do I have this inventory like baskets? What are those?
Because when you press E, normally in Minecraft you would have a full equipment and inventory here.
Mm-hmm.
And in Vintage Story you have to craft your inventory, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of surface copper. Look at this. See?
That's copper.
Exactly.
I want to say nitro.
A what? So we basically look.
Berries.
Don't. What do you mean? Look at it. But also the significance of spear length.
Mine is bigger. Turn around. Bend over.
Bro. Also the currency stuff, like the gears that we sometimes find everywhere. And the dangers of surface drifters. And after all that, we continued our travel in search of a place worthy of settling down.
Oh, you can walk through the leaf blocks. That's so nice.
Oh, watch out. And yeah, we also fought off some boars, which nicely tied into our survival, and a lesson on carving the animals for food and hides.
I have raw red meat.
After that, we managed to get to the spot where we planned to set up our base of operations, at least in theory. So I dropped my knife and told my wife to go and gather some cattails for the baskets, so we can actually have some inventory space. And after bossing around and delegating tasks, I finally put my own hands to work too. Cutting trees and exploring the area mostly. We very quickly noticed that this area of the map is rather bustling with bears and wolves. Oh my god, okay, he saw me. 4 bears. There's so many bears. Ooh, you got him. That is actually so crazy.
I killed my first bear.
After that, we shared the inventory baskets and took the first lesson on creating a fire from scratch. Sometimes it takes a moment.
Whoa! It worked.
We put some of that boar meat over the bonfire and here we go. Her slow descent into fascination with Vintage Story cooking has started. You will see. So of course we shared some torches around, and after that she made her first hoe to start her farming journey. Unfortunately, we quickly noticed that the ground here was not very good, to put it lightly. Not only did we have to manually dig out the forest floor for it to be tillable, but also all of it was just low fertility dirt, meaning that ultimately farming around here would be almost impossible. And believe me, we went everywhere to look for any sort of medium fertility dirt we could bring to start a farm, but to no avail. Somehow this place is just barren, hundreds of blocks in each direction it seemed. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've never had so much issues actually finding soil. Even if my wife did try to make the best out of the land here. Still, this was mostly a waste of time. I gave her a shovel so she can look for some more food and fertile dirt too, but that's when...
Bear. I died.
You went for food for like split second. And soon after that...
Am I gonna be able to...
Yeah, I got what I deserved, I guess. So we spawned in, shared some food, and quickly made it back for the items, at least theoretically. How are you so fast, dude?
Is he chasing you already?
Yes! Listen, I don't know what they did to bears since last time I played, but they are so much faster, even in water. My wife, while slightly late, did appear to save my sorry bottom from the bear. At least until her spear broke and mine was nowhere to be found.
No. He's almost killing me though. Oh no! My thingy broke.
You know what? That's it. This place is not good to settle for such an esteemed Vintage Story veteran, let alone a new player. So we spawned in yet again, and this time tried going in a completely different direction, created some brand new tools from scratch, and avoided the bears, that's especially important in this world, I guess, and tried surviving yet another night under the clear sky.
I died.
But we do not talk about that night. But after a tiny bit of traveling, not even that far away from the initial spawn, we found our place.
This is a nice, rather flat area with a close proximity to water and forests, but also with so much free food just growing everywhere that starvation should not be a problem anymore. So it is official now. This is where we settle after all this chaotic beginning. Feels much more safe, and the only thing that can hurt us here is us ourselves. Like there.
Oi.
Ow!
I'm sorry, I was collecting mushrooms.
You just stabbed me in my belly.
That was not on purpose.
So I dug out some soil around the area and decided to make some packed dirt, which I never usually use, but these are desperate times. So I found a nice little spot next to a small lake and started building a small makeshift dirt hut. The most important stuff is that we have somewhere to hide and sleep, so the looks are not the goal right now. And after some more dirt digging and block placing, here we go. A nice cozy fridge-sized place to call home. And perfectly in time too, since the sun is slowly descending. And since my vintage story Padawan was cutting trees beforehand, we could make my favorite type of door to finish off this hut. Because they tend to break. I started a little fire in the house, so we have a place to cook. Not freezing to death at night is also always nice. After that we went ahead and cut some grass using our stone knives, the goal being making some hay beds. And by we I mean mostly me, because my wife turned out to be a rather skilled fisherwoman, so this is where she spent most of the evening. After that I went ahead and made some beds, and it's kind of funny, but I have never seen the player model actually holding them up until now when I saw her do it. We put the beds next to each other, and we went to sleep. There's a lot of work cut out for us in the next 96 days, or however many is left. I don't actually keep the track that well. And next morning I made 2 wooden pans, since, you know, we have lost all the copper nuggets we found when we died to those bears. We need a rebound here. So I introduced my wife to the fascinating activity known as panning for copper in a random lake. Funny enough, she seemed to actually like it.
Oh, I got 14. We need 6 more. How many do you have? Okay, 1 more. I got it. I got it. Yay!
It took us a moment, but after a couple of in-game hours we managed to get to 40 copper nuggets. Well, now we need a way to smelt it all and begin my wife's first copper age. So we will need to find some clay around here. So I crafted a bunch of stone spears for the fence, and at the same time my wife managed to find some of our first ruins. Nothing much there, apart from some stone tools though. But hey, at least we grabbed some of that bony soil. And that's gonna be pretty useful for panning later. But since it was already getting late, we decided to spend the rest of the evening home. Where did you go? And the next day we woke up and restocked, and immediately went out for some exploration. We need clay, but we also need to hunt anything that moves. A man can't live only on berries and fish, you know. Clay should be around water, usually at least. It looks very similar to clay like in Minecraft basically, especially the blue clay. Red clay is like clay from Minecraft but red. But of course, like in every self-respecting scavenging adventure, we also grabbed whatever we could use later down the line. Well, like this spelt, for instance. We're gonna make some bread, I guess, I don't know. And also, my survival companion finally had a bit of time to take a better look at the rifts that spawn monsters. So if you enter it, your sanity is going to start going down super fast. And hey, we managed to finally find some actual clay. And it's not a small deposit either. So we grabbed as much as we could. And by we, I mean her, mostly. Okay, no, I did help a tiny bit. Just a little bit. Then my wife hunted some berries using a spear. You know, chances of berries attacking you are low, but never zero. But you know what can attack you with chances that are much higher? A wolf. So we fought one. Some pelts are always nice, and 2v1ing a wolf is much easier anyway. Especially that there seem to be a surprisingly low number of animals worth hunting here. And while we were traveling back home, my wife picked up every mushroom she could see.
What is that? Green cracked rusula.
Sounds delicious. And while we were at it, we found some medium fertility soil, which also seems to be rather rare here. So we picked up some of that to secure our future farming. And by we, I mean mostly her, doing the shovel work. I was helping from the sidelines, catching every moment of this. And after that, we started making our way home.
Fastest boy. Sorry.
And when we did get home, the first thing we did was make some use of that soil stuff. The sooner we start farming, the better, so that kind of took the priority. I built one of those floaty stripes type farm for moisture maxing, and my wife went ahead and tilled all the soil and planted all the seeds we have found so far. The next morning was started with a bang, and by bang I mean some clay tutorials. You have to put clay with shift on the floor, and now you can choose whatever you want to make.
Preserved meals and pickled food, cooking. Ooh.
We needed a lot of clay stuff to be made, but we opted to go first for the vessels. Food spoilage is no joke, and we literally have no other means of storing the items either, so it seemed like the most logical solution. And after we were done, now we needed to fire them, which prompted her to automatically try and shove the clay vessel into our home fire. But not in here, now we have to build a special thing. Yeah. But some of the vintage story connoisseurs know this is not the way. So instead we went outside for a small demonstration of using fire pits. So basically dig a 1x1 hole and shove that clay thingy inside, cover it with grass, sticks and firewood and fire, and then wait for it to be ready. And after that my wife did the honors of igniting both vessels.
Whoa, it's burning! It's burning!
And now we wait. And since now she knows how to ignite things, I got wrongly accused of dousing the torch she made.
I ignited the torch outside of our house. Ah!
What did I do?
Oi! It broke.
After all that, we finally started making the clay crucibles, the tool needed for smelting nuggets. So we went out and fired it too.
Whoa! I don't know, I like it so much.
This is our key to the Copper Age right here, but we still need some more stuff to progress though. So while my wife went out to hunt and fish, I stayed at home and played with some Play-Doh to make molds. You know, so we have somewhere to pour the soon-to-be liquid metal. So I made a hammer mold and a pickaxe mold, both very crucial, and fired them too in the fire pit. We have so many fire pits, a whole fire pit family. So yeah, now we have all those beautiful fires going on. And the farm is also starting to look more and more developed. At this point, I don't know where she gets all those plant seeds from.
Ooh, what is that? Growing onions! Onions!
Although I do have my speculations. And yeah, the next day we went out for an all-hunting adventure, since we had to wait for all the clay stuff to be fired anyway.
Wait, there are raccoons, maybe we can kill them.
I don't think they have good meat.
I don't care. Meat is meat.
So yeah, we hunted some raccoons, did some sightseeing, hunted some wild chickens. Don't worry, there's plenty of them to still domesticate around here. And then we grabbed some more of that precious medium fertility soil, because the the farm must grow. Then a bit more hunting, mostly rabbits and other rodents and stuff, and yeah, onions.
Onions. I love onions.
You found more onions?
Yeah.
After that, pretty much next to our dirt hut, just across a small hill, we found quite peaceful looking ruins. So of course we desecrated the dead together and gathered whatever was there, mostly stone tools again, unfortunately, and this was the moment when we kind of gave up on animal hunting too. I guess we will have to farm our way through this world, since quite literally there is no large animals anywhere near, no boars, no deer, literally just a bunch of turnips. So we started heading home, occasionally marking any copper deposits we stumbled upon on our way. And of course, since there is almost no animals, we decided to sample some of the local special mushrooms to figure out which ones are edible.
Red mushrooms with like white spots on top. I think it's edible, right? It's called fly agaric. Fly agaric. It's red mushrooms with white spots. I think it's very edible.
Yeah, they look very inviting to eat, no?
Yeah, they look like a candy, like, look at me, I'm so bright and colorful,
Oh my god, I took so much damage. I guess they were not edible, who would have known?
Who would have thought?
After that, we expanded the farm a bit yet again, with the newly acquired medium fertility soil. And of course, someone has to till it, and I'd like to call it a team effort.
Yeah. No, it broke. Do you have any hose?
It's a tricky question. And apart from that, my wife planted a very familiar looking vineyard for berry making. So I guess we are pretty set when it comes to farming now. And look, our clay stuffs have finished cooking. So thanks to that, now we have some clay vessels that slow the spoilage of foods. But also we finally have some molds and a crucible. And since it was getting late, we spent the evening mostly farming. And yeah, some of the plants are already in stage 2 of growth. And the next day I woke up literally starving, which changed the priorities from copper smelting to pure survival. And after some erratic running around, my life companion managed to save my dear empty belly by finding some wild mushrooms. And that whole process spiraled into a nice little exploration trip, since literally seconds after that we found a huge copper deposit, and then moments later a small ruin, and this time we got some flax, which immediately put me in the bow making mindset. Maybe that will help us hunt some stuff, since the spears are quite hard to aim. So of course I made one, and while I was looking for an arrow recipe, my wife got attacked by yet another local resident bear. It's a bear!
Ah! It's a bear! Oh!
Oh no.
I thought it was a boar.
That wasn't a boar.
It was a bear.
Oh my god. No!
You dying as well?
Yeah. Well, I died in the
was
exact same
sleeping.
spot as you.
Should I go back there?
Yeah, I mean, we have to pick up the items. And I dropped a bow there as well. Yeah, we both managed to get absolutely mauled. And I did drop my newly made bow too. So we made our way back there straight from the spawn. Picked up our items, this time no bear in sight. Or to better put it, we only thought that there was no bear in sight. And after all this bear fighting was over, we started to slowly head home. Little did we know that this evasive brown rectangle was actually waiting for us on our way.
Eating while being full. Just waste of food.
Oh my god. Run to water, run to water.
I'm trying to kill him.
Oh my god,
Dead.
thank god. That was so
Thank
scary.
me.
Thank you, I mean. Oh my god. And after that we managed to get home. That was the craziest food adventure ever. And we did not even get any food. At home I oiled up some of the furs we have that will make pelts, and those are very useful for clothing when the temperatures drop. And then just to calm my wife's nerves, we made some clay cooking stuffs, like bowls and pots. Since she's running the farm, she claimed the honors of being the chef too. And a bit later that day I showed her a new way of storing items. And after that we finally started progressing with some copper smelting. But unfortunately, crucible with copper nuggets will not get hot enough on peat bricks or firewood. So we nabbed a bunch of axes and went to the local forest to cut down some trees. And then we will turn the wood into charcoal. So we proceeded to cut down some of the local pine tree population, and all that while actively defending ourselves from wolves and stuff, or at least attempting to defend ourselves. Oh my
There's
god.
more.
But after we cut down enough trees, we came back home and turned it all into firewood. Then we climbed the little hill behind our house and decided on who will be digging the charcoal kiln. Okay, let's... you want me to dig? Are you gonna... So after democratically being told to shovel away some dirt, I got showered with the firewood that will have to get stuffed in this hole. But of course that wasn't enough firewood, so a bit more tree cutting had to be done. But after that we managed to fill the whole thing with firewood to the brim, and as always, my wife doing the honors of igniting the whole thing. And since it's smoking through the blocks, means it's working. And hey, our cooking clay thingies are ready too. So this was the perfect moment for my wife to start to figure out how to cook, as bad as it sounds, coming from me. And while she plays with her new toys, I sat down and actually made some flint arrows for my new bow. Not the most effective thingies in the world, but I only have rabbits to hunt anyway, so this should do. So this time we went west to hunt some more, since we keep running out of food all the time. Small animals are really not doing it for 2 people, and I haven't seen any larger ones anywhere yet. We settled in a very barren land, it seems. So we hunted a bunch of chickens, some fishies, and some baby deer. We also found some more copper to mark, and that's always nice. But overall we were met with no large animals, despite spending an entire day looking for them. No boars, no deer, no nothing. Curious really. And while we started going home, my wife got brutally attacked by a shiver monster. You're not taking the hunting well at night?
No.
And next morning, while my wife actually decided to stay home and tend to the farm, I went out once again into the wilds. But not only to hunt, but rather to find places where animals worth hunting actually spawn. And while at it, picked up as many hides and stuffs as possible. But after traveling west for a bit, my plans got a little bit more complicated. A light temporal storm is coming, so unless I want eldritch gods to annihilate me, I should pick up my pace a bit. But I did manage to hit one more ruin before heading back. This one was a bigger one, although loot didn't really represent that, since all I got was some grain. After that I started heading home, to avoid the pleasantries of being cooked alive in a temporal storm, and that's when I finally spotted them, a small pack of boars. And I need to remember that place, because stumbling upon any sort of meat-rich animal was impossible up until now. After that I started making my way home, and when I arrived, my wife was already making more clay bowls for eating and cooking. And not only that, but a full bowl of porridge with some red currants was waiting for me in the chest. And I'm gonna be honest, she's already much better at cooking in this game than I ever was. I had no idea porridge was even a thing. After that hearty and fully deserved meal, I started curing some of the hides I got. And we do have to start looking into making 2 fur coats sooner or later. Mistake of leaving it to the last moment is a mistake. And hey, my wife is already cooking more stuffs, and this time I can actually see how porridge is done. So I guess grain can be cooked in a pot with some additional fruits and stuff. I honestly had no clue you can do that. And it looks freaking delicious as well. And while I was looking through our food storages, which admittedly look much better now, she was already making another freaking pot for cooking. And soon after all that, a temporal storm finally hit. The first one my wife has ever experienced.
Whoa, it was a lot of food.
So I took the liberty of swapping our dirt windows into a slight upgrade, that is the wattle fence windows.
Ew, that's scary.
And so was the temporal storm going. For those who don't know, a temporal storm is just like a regular storm, with the slight difference of bending your ice and spawning a massive amount of difficult monsters. And for that reason, me and my wife decided to rather stay at home. But honestly, she did have to ask a question about Dave.
Is he close or far?
That's a good question that I do not know the answer to.
Oh no, my farm.
And while I still do not have all the answers as to who Dave or what Dave even is, I now know better than to ask. And after sitting a bit and taking it easy, the storm finally went away. We have officially survived a light temporal storm, and then we went to sleep, and for a good reason too.
Let's sleep because I'm excited to cook more.
And next morning we fired some of those bowls she was making yesterday. Some performance issues.
Sorry. Sorry, just give me a second.
She clearly likes farming and cooking the most so far, so making more utensils for that is a pretty logical step forward. And then, first renovations of our beautiful dirt house. A small fence is always nice, and I love fences. After that we went behind the house to check up on our charcoal, and sure enough it was ready, so both of us started digging it up with shovels. And by both I mean mostly her, and by shovels I mean one shovel. Nah, just kidding, I did help a little bit. And by help I mean mostly enclosing my woman in the charcoal pit.
Hello?
And after all that helping, we went ahead and put the crucible on the fire pit, and some of the copper nuggets inside. And since we have the charcoal now, we can freely smelt the copper and actually cast some tools. But there was still one thing to do. We had to make tongs, of which existence I completely forgot. So I made my wife handle the white hot metal stuff and cast the copper hammer head and the copper pickaxe head. And then the next day... And after connecting the sticks to those metal tool heads, we have actual copper tools on our hands now. So this is the official point where we actually entered the copper age. And as if the good things could not stop happening to us, some of the farming crops are ready to harvest too.
That's so exciting.
So since I had some time on my hands now, I decided that we need an upgrade to the house. Therefore, my favorite early building material, the mud bricks, is in order. So I went out to gather some red clay from the local red clay store, grabbed some dirt from the dirt shop, and bought some grass from the grass bazaar. Anyway, I made the mud bricks, the darker version too, of course, which is objectively nicer, and the dirt hut is soon going to upgrade to a mud hut. Nice. I just have to mind my wife, who's inside making more molds, including an anvil mold, which will come in useful when we start actually smithing. So, as soon as the morning hit, I started swapping all the dirt blocks to mud bricks, all while my wife started noticing the small quality of life things in Vintage Story.
Oh, dang. If your axe breaks mid chopping the tree, you don't like completely lose the progress. You just don't like cut the whole tree. Like it cuts some of it.
Yeah, it like saves, no?
Yeah.
She does have some Minecraft experience on her hands, so while she's not starting from a complete lack of any block game knowledge, Vintage Story kept surprising her with little things like this throughout the entire playthrough. And while I was still replacing the blocks, she decided to go on a little adventure on her own, to gather materials for a wooden lamellar armor, which was admittedly a good idea. And after that I kept turning the dirt in the house into mud bricks, and the house looks, well, it definitely looks, but at least it feels a bit more civil, in a way. Living for who knows how long in a dirt hut does not feel very good. And soon after that, my dearest lady came back wearing all wood, and brought me my own wooden t-shirt too. Sure, the stats are not great, and it breaks from a fart, but it's a good start. And during the evening I started making that thatch roof. The house has to have a thatch roof, that's a canon early Vintage Story roof. So I put a couple of roof parts on the roof, and then ran out of roof. But hey, on a good note, we have a lot of clay things now.
Oh, we have actually a lot of things. You're making so many clay things.
Yeah.
From an anvil mold to even a whole freaking set of crocs for food preservation. Did I mention I never told her to do any of the stuff? She just figured it out on her own and did it. And next morning I cut some more grass. And after I got bored, I made it a team effort. And while I was putting blocks on blocks, I received another armor gift from my wife. This time a primitive shield.
How do you make those?
Sticks and cattails. You're welcome.
Yeah, she is rather quickly outpacing me with crafting and such. I don't think I ever made one of these. Well, after that I finished off the building. And let's be real right now, a roof can save any build. This mud house went from looking like a blob to looking like an actual Copper Age house. And since we are on the Copper Age topic, the anvil mold is still very much not filled to the brim with molten copper. So we cast one more set of hammer pickaxe combo, so we both can actually mine. And waited for them to cool down and harden, while my wife cooks more porridges as the rations for the soon-to-be expedition. Because we need to hit all those copper areas we have marked so far, or at least enough of them to have enough. So after the tool heads were cool, we were ready to depart. We made our way to the nearest copper deposit that we have marked, and when we got to the place, of course we started digging straight down. And while the copper was not right under the dirt, we did manage to find it one block below the first stone layer.
No, never
Okay.
mind, it's here. Yeah. Nice, we have copper.
We both grabbed as much as we could from that admittedly rather small deposit. And while I had 7 chunks of copper, my wife had dug out 27 of them. Talk about equal workload. And after that deposit was depleted, we moved on to the next one. And same story here. Arrived at the location, dug straight down, found precious copper colored metal. And I think it's safe to say that my wife also got addicted to that feeling when you dug out a seemingly last ore block, only to be met with one more behind it.
Okay, nice.
Oh. Oh. Ooh. Ooh.
More? What the
Yeah.
hell?
Whoa.
And when we felt like we had enough copper to start doing something with it, we returned home. After that I turned the precious copper chunks into nuggets, and the nuggets into melted metal. All while my wife started preparing the first clay molds for ingots. And quite a few of them too, based on the amount of fire pits necessary to fire them all. And when the copper was finally completely melted, my wife cast the copper anvil. At last. Now we wait for it. After the copper anvil was cold enough,
we released it from its mold constraints. And this thing will let us make so many more tools, shears for sticks, scythe for grass, and all that good stuff. But all that after the ingot molds are ready, since they are still not quite out of the oven yet. And hey, the house is getting pretty crowded now too. With all the anvils, vessels and stuff, we need more space, and hopefully soon. But for now, next morning we went out to grab more medium fertility soil. We need to make an actual farm instead of this makeshift lake thingy. And of course we also grabbed every possible wild plant we could find. And while we were passing this huge mountain just east from our house, we found some brown coal. And by some I mean like solid 3 or 4 deposits. I guess charcoal is not necessary anymore for smelting, since brown coal burns pretty hot. And after this small scavenging adventure we went back home with all the seeds and stuff. And yeah, the ingot molds are finally ready. But we still need something to make the future ingots hot and workable. And this is where forge comes into play here. So of course we made one, otherwise no smithing would be possible. And this way our first primitive smithy is ready for action. So we laid out all the new ingot molds on the ground, just as Dave intended, and smelted some copper. And when it was ready, both of us together as a team, we cast all the ingots one by one. And when they get cold, we will have a workable material ready to be shaped into anything we need or want. And after that, I went out to cut some more trees and filled up the charcoal pit. Having access to brown coal does not mean we have to get lazy now, do we? And after I came back, the ingots were already cold enough to gather. So now, not to waste any time, we immediately put them to work. And by we I mean mostly my wife, since I wanted her to experience the smithing on her own. And she chose to make a saw, since that's the only way to make planks.
Whoa,
It's actually pretty fun.
it is.
And she has big plans for planks. And after she was finished, we rushed outside to do the famous psh 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 into the water. And after that, she decided to make some nails, mostly for chests, since we are really not doing great with storage right now. And that also ties in with making planks, so we made some. And just to make it even more official, the first thing we made from them is wooden doors. Finally, we are finished with the days of constantly breaking the crude ones, but we still have an almost infinite amount of planks left. So I decided that we'll need some more space for all the goodies we can now craft. So I began the construction of the cellar, a place where we will be able to store food, and thanks to the Vintage Stories cellar mechanic, it will spoil much slower. So I dug out a hole and connected it to the ground level by some ladders. All while my wife made even more chests for storage, but that's a completely separate thing. And after that I crafted some thatch roof stuff, because of course I did. But then I realized that we do not have enough grass for what I want to do, and nowhere near enough. So I started up the forge and heated up some of that ingot stuff. And the goal? A scythe, which should make gathering grass a breeze. And while I was gathering the grass with the new tool, my dear companion wanted to try it out for herself.
Doesn't take any like time either.
Oh, it's instant.
Reasonable.
Yep.
Put effort to making it.
And that makes this a team effort. Once again, I dared not to tell her to stop. And then, while I was building the rest of the designer roof, she even brought me some porridge.
It's very good. It's
Okay.
very good, very tasty.
Yeah, never forget to mention how good something your partner cooked is, unless you want to end up on a haybed in real life. And soon after that, the cellar thingy was done. I tried going for that medieval underground granary type of look, and I think I succeeded, more or less. So we started bringing the vessels down here, using the freshly installed mod Carry On, which lets you pick up chests and stuff with items inside. And sure enough, now we have an actual cellar storage for all the foodstuffs. And not only that, but my wife also crafted a bed using planks and some flax stuff she gathered.
But just one for now. Looks, it has decorations on it.
Only one bed, mind you, and guess which one is mine. And the next day she wanted to expand her cooking horizons even more, so she started the construction of a fruit press to make juices, wine and whatnot. I, on the other hand, was assigned to make the second version of our farm, this time taking into consideration rotating crops, because each little plot will be designed for one of 3 different types of plants. So I started digging out 4 rectangles for each of the soil nutrient types. Then I dug out a hole in the middle of each for future water sources, added some wooden pathways for the vibes, and surrounded the whole thing with fences, mostly for the vibes too, but also to repel any rabbits and such wanting our crops for themselves.
And then, of course, fence gates, because they are always nice. I like entering my farm sometimes. And here we go, a fully crop rotation friendly farm for all those plants and stuff. And after that I made a bucket from a couple of planks and gave it to my wife so that she can do the honors of putting the first waters in the water holes.
No. Everybody does that at first.
Well, I guess she's happy with the farm, so her evening was spent mostly tending to the new plots and plants and stuff. And smithing, new farming equipment of course, and in the morning, more tilling. I also tried explaining the crop rotation system, but you know, I'm not an expert on it either.
And you're gonna be kind of rotating them, you know?
What if I have more than 3 seeds?
I don't know.
And since we're doing the farmer lifestyle, I decided to make 2 straw huts. We need to be farming in style, after all. So now we can proudly call ourselves crop rotation experts. And yeah, whenever I was coming home from any non-home-based place, I was always met with a meal. I guess having a designated hobbyist cook in the house has its perks. And the next day we went for some more...
Let's go for some more copper smelting.
Yippee! I can't wait for a whole Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Just playing.
But that copper adventure turned sour real quick when the bear number 7 showed up.
Oh my god, I just wanted some copper.
So as usual, we lured it into the nearest water source and tried spearing him until very dead. But the tables have turned very quick and we were the ones who got slapped
Oi.
across the lake. But we did come back and gather the items like true pros and then went on the lookout for revenge.
Oh, I see him in the bushes there.
And the attempt number 2 results in me being brutally mauled yet again. And after I came back for the second time, the most beautiful sight was bestowed upon me. I see you chasing him. My woman, with spear in hand, chasing the bear across the grublands. I would run too, my friend. And after some more bear fighting, we finally got him.
Okay.
Oh, I got him.
Did I mention that this was supposed to be a copper run? Yeah, so despite all the difficulties, we did hit a couple of copper spots. Never enough copper, especially that we'll need quite a bit of it for the bronze. We really need to slowly start preparing for some more serious adventures, but there's still time for that. So we basically spent an entire evening and some of the next day's morning digging copper in various places, occasionally having some cooperation issues too.
1, 2, 3. Okay, I think there's a better way to do this.
Yeah, what's wrong with us?
Hunting predators due to lack of any herbivores in the area, and being impressed by some ancient-looking trees. But most importantly, after we had enough copper digging, we decided to finally hit that brown coal spot. It will come in useful for smithing and smelting for sure, and the brown coal deposits are usually really big, I noticed. Not sure how true that is in real life, but here we have more than enough to sustain us for a very long time. And after we got bored of digging the endless brown coal vein, we started heading back through the eastern plains. And while we were right around the corner to our house, yet another angry bear started chasing me.
That is nice.
Armor.
Oh my god, he's faster than me. How is that possible? I
Wait,
mean,
we're home.
um,
We can just close the door.
yeah, can you do that? What a relentless bear.
Whoa,
What
he's
now?
still here.
We brought him home.
I'm just planting flags here.
The bear ran to the left. I guess he Ezio auditored his way to my wife, who was just planting flags, all happy like. So as a way of avenging my wife, since it was already too late for defending, I jumped into the farm and fought the bastard myself.
Okay, he's dead.
Is he?
Yep.
So I guess that's kind of how the days will go now, huh? Soon after all the bear stuff, a temporal storm hit. So I guess we had to do more smithing and some more home tasks. Both of us, of course. And hey, the copper expedition actually net us a ton of copper nuggets. So of course we started to smelt some of them immediately. And since the ingot molds were now outside, I had to do some gymnastics to actually cast the ingots. But at least I could say hi to Dave. Hello, Dave. And hey, since we had the planks for it, my wife finally decided to construct the juice press. And we both had to figure out how it works. Because believe it or not, I have never made or used one myself. Ultimately, we decided to put it in the cellar/granary. It will be much closer to any berries and stuff we have too. So I guess we can now make juices and stuff. Okay, let's see. Is it actually gonna be a bucket below?
Yep.
That is so cool. That is so cool! I've never made juice in Vintage Story before. And we have some cranberry juice now. My wife is already miles ahead of me when it comes to cooking. Soon she will be teaching me how to play this game, to be honest. But squeezing fruits gives us not only some juice, but also what remains of the squeezed fruits. And this pulp we can actually use to feed our future animals. So as a toast, we drank some juice to our new Vintage Story experience. And that's when my wife figured out that you can make it a little bit more alcoholic actually, since you can turn this juice into a wine in a barrel. Well, I will leave it to her then, mostly because I had more ingots to cast and more tools to smith, like this prospecting pickaxe, the essential tool of anybody who wants to find their own ores instead of relying on deposit markings. And while I was doing that, my wife had already made her first barrel and filled it up with juice. And now we just need more time and to seal it, so the juice turns into wine, I guess. So that's what her current goal was, run around and collect as many berries as she can. And believe me, she was able to squeeze almost 3 barrels in just one day of work. I guess we will have a lot of wine of different flavors, and pretty soon as well. But me, I started smithing the next prospecting pick, because as much as my lady is excited to cook and make beverages, I need to pull her into the wilds for a prospecting lesson, even if she bullies me for enjoying the process. Dude, I love this quenching.
Quenching? Oh, the quenching.
You don't have to bully me like that.
Quenching.
Yeah.
Quenching Tarantino.
Quenching Tarantino. But after all that bullying, she got occupied by making a watering can for her farm, and I started making some shears, since a lot of sticks will come in useful when making ladders for deep mining.
What did it do?
Wait, can you actually just like tidy them up? Like cut them like how is it called?
Yes!
I had no idea. Yeah, she picked up the shears and immediately found out that you can clean up the berry bushes. I had no idea. Maybe I am the noob here actually. But as a revenge, I did trick her into cutting the leaves for sticks, so we are even. And then I made a pair of swords for a slightly more personal defense. Are they better than spears? No clue, but I like having them. Okay, but let's summarize the tools. We have 2 new copper pickaxes and 2 new prospecting picks, so we have everything needed to look for copper and tin, so we can actually make bronze. So we need to head out into the wilds again, and finally start the prospecting journey I usually love so much. So we ate and headed out for a quick prospecting lesson. I explained that prospecting pick has 2 modes, the long range one for marking out the map and the short range radar for finding ore close to the player. So she chose the long range one and broke 3 blocks around this cave, and apparently the reading was
0 traces of ore.
Really?
Yep.
We have nothing here? And yeah, right next to our house, there is absolutely nothing, somehow. So we started going north. We need to find tin. But a huge copper vein would also be pretty cool. And not dying. Not dying is also kinda cool.
Whoa.
Thankfully, around 300 blocks north, we already found the first traces of cassiterite, which is tin. We just need to follow the trail, and hopefully we will find more. So we split and prospected all over the northern granite gravel biome, which in my experience is usually pretty good with ore veins. And literally after a couple of minutes, my wife says this: "You found cassiterite high."
Yeah. High cassiterite 0.16.
Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for. She found a plentiful source of tin just north from me. So we found each other using coordinates, And sure enough, high reading for cassiterite, and this is huge. So we came back home and I crafted some ladders, which I totally not forgot to craft beforehand. And my wife's watering can was also ready after being fired in a pit. So since it was too late to go and mine, we stayed at home, tending to the crops. But as soon as the next day hit, we moved out. Time to grab some tin. So we traveled through the fun-shaped gravel wastelands and got back to the place where we got the high tin reading. And despite what an average Minecraft player might say, digging down is actually the way. So we did exactly that, in 2 different spots, to cover more ground. And soon, I got a reading on the proximity prospecting mode. We have tin. And soon after that, not only did I found a bountiful quality tin, but also a small cave with some ruins in it. Of course the tin took the precedence, since this is our key to entering the Bronze Age, and since our tunnels were close to each other, we connected them, since my wife did not find any tin in her own. And now together we managed to gather some of that precious elusive cassiterite. And after that we checked out the ruins, but we did not find anything, even after digging through them, so I guess that's it. We climbed out and came back home with all the goodies. And this amount of tin nuggets should be more than enough for bronze for now, since bronze is around 90% copper mixed with 10% tin. And hey, on the old farm, some of the flax finally grew, and this is our first actual flax harvest. So now, at least I don't have to sleep on a literal grass anymore. And the next beautiful morning, I checked up on our charcoal pile, which was ready. More charcoal is always good. And my wife was making more vessels, since apparently we have way too much food right now, and no space to store it. But more importantly, we started smelting some bronze, of course giving the honors to the lady of the house. So Bronze Age is much sooner than I actually initially expected. So to kill time, I made some more tools from copper ingots we already have. And at the same time, my wife started gathering rock blocks for quern. She fully intends to make flour from grain and finally start baking some breads and stuffs. And of course, where else could the quern go if not to the granary? Or is it a cellar? We also make wine here, so at this point I'm not sure what this building actually is. And honestly, she wasted no time. Instant flour making. And not only that, but she also immediately figured out that we can make ale now. I had no idea that's a thing. I feel more and more stupid the longer I play with her. I mean, listen, she just started playing this game, and she has a whole operation going on down here already, and she's using systems I never even interacted with. If she's going to continue, she's going to out-veteran me much sooner than I expected. And the next morning, the bronze was ready, and the preparations for the Resonance Archives can finally start. More or less, at least. So she took the molten metal outside and cast the first bronze ingots, but also the hammer and the pickaxe. Those are important too. I, on the other hand, went out to grab some logs, got chased by 2 bears at the same time.
I just wanted some wood, man.
And began adding some much needed details to the house. And when I was finished, the first bronze ingots were already cool enough to handle. But that wasn't enough for all the stuff we need if I am to try to get my wife to enter the Resonance Archives. So since we have a place to dig a ton of tin from, now we went out to find a place with tons of copper. But yet again, I got bullied by some bears.
What happened?
Bear?
Which I thankfully managed to escape by some magnificent parkour.
Nice.
What even is this place? Anyway, I started prospecting all over the granite biome here, and even found a much higher reading for tin, which is absolutely huge. But when it comes to copper, I wasn't so lucky. But the more west I went, the better the reading got. Until finally, I found a very high copper reading just a couple of 100 blocks away from the tin, and that is absolutely crazy. Infinite bronze basically in the same spot. So I committed the #1 Minecraft sin yet again, and after some struggle to actually locate anything, we finally got it. Quality of the copper was poor, but the silver lining being that there was at least a lot of it. So we spent quite a bit of time down here, digging that metal pretty much until our sanities started going absolutely nuts. But after we found enough for that day, we came back out to the surface. And since I wasn't 100% done with the metals yet, I decided to make a small makeshift hobbit hole for the night. In the morning, my wife decided to go home. She has a farm to tend to. But I decided to push for one more vein of tin, just to be safe. So after mining some of that, I thought to myself that this should be enough for now. So I came back home and turned all the ore chunks into nuggets, so that they can be easily turned into bronze. Then made some ingots yet again. We'll need to make some armor soon. And you know what? It was going pretty well. The stack of bronze bronze ingots was growing. But we also need one more thing if we are even to think about making armor. Leather. For leather we need limestone, so we will need to find it soon. But since it was evening, we decided that a small nightly drink is in order. Especially that the wine my wife was making is ready. I don't think we're going anywhere right now.
More?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm blacking out, I think.
And the next morning I did some more smithing for the limestone adventure preparations, and my wife started cooking some provisions for the road. But she also made us some linen sacks from the rest of the flags that we had for improved inventory space. And then we went out in search of the seemingly rarest and most annoying rock in the game, the limestone. So we made our way through the granite gravel biomes, and past that through some plains with a lot of ruins scattered everywhere, so of course we had to search some of them. Then we stumbled upon some marshes, and while they looked cool on the map, were terrible for efficient traversal. And while we were in the middle of those marshes, we got a notification on an incoming temporal storm. But there is still no rush, since it takes a couple of good minutes for the storm to arrive after the first message, so we traveled a bit further. We approached the huge mountain in the distance and dug ourselves in, like a bunch of dwarfs making some sort of a fortress. We put our travel beds down, made the place a bit prettier, and waited for the storm to calm, and hopefully pass too. And after it was over, we dug ourselves back out, and immediately we had to fight a harder version of a drifter. I guess he was a leftover from the storm, but he did drop a temporal gear, a thingy we can use to set our spawn points. Then we continued the travel, at least until we got attacked by yet another ultra fast bear. We never got him, but I did manage to escape with just a tiny sliver of health left, and after that, more traveling. We managed to even find some boars this time, always good to replenish some of the supplies on the road. But overall no limestone just yet, only rain and some bauxite, which admittedly should be useful sooner or later. And while we were following the trail of bauxite and sandstone, we came across a huge mountain chain, and while we did not know it yet, on its own it will play a much larger role in the future. You will see. But for now, we found a locust nest, and since we were not looking for any fights right now, we backed off pretty soon. We decided to dig ourselves into this mountain as well, making it our epic makeshift campsite for this night. And after that, we continued our prolonged journey, and setting camps whenever possible to cook, since our food started to run quite short already. The last thing we need is starving thousands of blocks away from our home, but shortages did not stop us from still being curious, especially when you spot a huge cathedral-like ruin in the distance. You just kind of have to investigate, you know? And here we got cabbage seeds from 3 separate vessels.
Yay.
How many cabbage seeds do you have at this point?
16.
That's a lot of cabbage. And usually in bigger ruins like these there are hidden rooms underneath, but this time we did not see anything like this. Nor did we have the time to look very thoroughly either. And later that day we dug out yet another camp, hopefully the last 2, since we are almost 7,000 blocks away from home at this point. But that's the last of our problems. We barely have any food left, and the thing cooking in the pot right now might just be our last meal. And the next day it did not take very long to finally spot some white rocks in the distance. Oh! Oh! I think it's chalk. Chalk? Chalk? It is! Can you make limestone with chalk? It grinds into lime! We are saved! And while this was not limestone, chalk is an equally rare material that we can use to make leather too. So here you have it. After days of traveling, we finally found the promised land of chalk. But there is more. While we were gathering the stone, we noticed something even crazier. That chalk biome was connected to a freaking limestone biome, and they were stacked on top of one another like pancakes. Chalk sand at the top, limestone a bit lower, and chalk rock at the bottom. We somehow managed to find 2 of the rarest leather making ingredients stacked on top of one another like it's nothing. And all that about 7,000 blocks away from home. But it gets better. My wife found borax, the 3rd leather making substitute for chalk and limestone. So to sum this up, we found 3 sometimes extremely hard to get materials stacked on top of each other like a sandwich. What are the chances of that happening? So we filled our inventories with all kinds of magical leather rocks and decided to head home. This went way better than I expected actually. So we started heading back, and since we were pretty desperate for food, we had to hunt anything that moved, even foxes or wolves, despite their meat not being very filling. And while we were traveling, we even found some air-exposed copper, a true rarity in this game. And since I was rather low on health from all the wolf fights and stuff, my wife made some primitive bandages from horsetail weeds and cattails. Yet another thing that I'm pretty sure I never crafted before. How does she do that? So after healing my health to an acceptable level, we continued. We even got some boar meat and hides to bring home, even if I could not immediately cook everything to satisfy my travel-strained belly. And after some time we managed to get to the granite gravel biomes, which means we're pretty close. And if we were unsure whether home is close, we got chased around by a bear. Yep, home sweet home. We finally made it. Limestone and chalk secured. And we have some animal hides to turn into leather too. So I went out and cut some oak trees. They will be needed to make tannin for the leather. And you know what I love about our home biome? You are never truly alone. So I got attacked by some wolves, of course, while cutting trees. But I came back home and fired up the good old smithy and started making a bronze saw, so I can make as many planks as I can. You will see for what in a second. All while my wife was panning in the lake for any goodies in the bony soil. But yeah, next morning hit us with a beautiful sunrise, so it was the perfect day to craft all those planks and then turn them into plank blocks. After that, I grabbed the scythe and went on a grass gathering spree. We'll need a lot of that. Once that was done, I started scouting locations for a new building. I didn't know yet what it was going to be, but I knew we needed more space, and I needed a secluded spot for leatherworking. Ultimately, I decided to start evening out the terrain right next to our farm and placing some of the first blocks down. I wanted this building to have a barn vibe, or maybe a silo or something, so I went with a more rectangular shape. Yeah, a shocker in a block game. And hey, double doors open together. I actually had no idea. I guess this is yet another thing I have never seen despite playing for hundreds of hours. I'm almost embarrassed now. I decided to make this building a second pair of doors at the back, so we can kind of walk through it like a barn, you know? And after finishing the first floor, I started making the roof, of course out of thatch. And while I was finishing it off, Lady of the Farm came to show me her musical skills.
Yes.
Nice. And after a while, I checked up on her again, and she was already wearing a full bear armor. I lost sight of her for a moment, and she's already flexing all those new things on me. But anyway, I continued and finished the roof on the new building. And to be honest, I actually kind of like how this whole thing turned out very farm-centric. That's exactly what I was going for. There's this weird rustic feel to our little farm now, and I'm all for it. But there was still the inside to finish. So I dug out the unnecessary dirt and replaced it with granite cobblestone, and then started building the floor of the second floor. Floor. Even made a little cobblestone pillar with a ladder to get there when it was done. So I guess the bottom half is going to be actually used for more storage stuff, or maybe even crafting. I'm not sure yet. But the attic for sure will be used for leather making. And to celebrate the newly built addition to our farm, I ate some porridge.
I ate your food.
That was my porridge. No.
I ate it. I ate your porridge.
And the next day I started packing the forge from the mud house. I decided to fully move it to the new building. I even made like a custom little cobblestone cage for it, so it looks a bit more smithy. And my wife also started decorating the house a bit with the new furniture, made out of planks and stuff. But we also had to take care of those chests from the outside here. So for now we decided to bring them inside the mud house. Then I went out to gather some materials and stuff. You know, sticks are used for almost everything here. And when I came back, the house already had so much more stuff in it. She even brought my casting molds inside. But apart from the smithy being now inside, I also started with the leather making barrels in the attic. I made a little infinite water source here as well, and chiseled it so it looks more sleek. And of course, now I could fill all the barrels with water. Now we just need to add ground limestone to some of them to make lime water to soak the hides. And while I was concerned with that, my wife made a little sorting system for us using signs. And the house is really slowly coming together, even if we don't own that much stuff yet. We even had a little kitchen area with tables and a little enjoy your meal sign. And not only that, but she even called me to our mud house to check something out. And apparently she started renovating the whole thing, adding furniture, replacing stuff, generally making it more cozy. Okay, but I need to finally start the leather processing. So first, I needed to grind the limestone. Not all of it, but it still took a good while to do. And after that, I mixed it in some barrels to make lime water. Then I grabbed some of the hides we had and plopped them right inside. Now we wait 20 hours for them to soak. So the next day I went out in search of some oaks. We need oak wood to turn the rest of the water into tannin. And then I found this guy here. That should do it. Yeah, that definitely should do it. Now we add the logs to the water and close the barrels for 24 hours to make weak tannin. We are going to repeat this process later to make some of them into strong tannin. Okay, so we started the production of leather. Now we have to make as much bronze as possible. We really need it since I am fully planning on having at least bronze equipment for the lore dungeon. So I started smelting more of it and casting whatever I could. We need to be prepared. I might have some experience with the dungeons, but my wife not so much. And hey, the new farm is finally netting us some proper food too. Nice. And apparently my wife started planting some pumpkins. Never seen those actually grow before, so I am really curious as to how they work. And I guess this was enough time for the first hides to soak, so I scraped them with a knife as the next step. And I guess while I was doing that, my wife started cooking even more stuff.
6 serving of rye porridge with mashed turnip. Sounds delicioso. Yum yum. Ooh la la.
And then apparently some of the ale she was brewing was done, so she came to share a jug with me. And apart from the alcohol, she also brought some of the healing items she's preparing for the archives. Okay, we're gonna need a lot of those. I can hear you laughing from another room. A man can't even crack a voice without being bullied, you know? But at least we started the preparations for the archives from a high note. Especially that we do need preparations, since we decided on making 2 full sets of bronze brigantine armor as our base setup, not counting the who knows how many spears, swords, shields and stuff. So I went into the gravel wasteland yet again. This time alone. I need to dedicate a day or two to just minding my own business, you know? Copper and tin mostly, because we need a lot of plates for armors. And each time I had more or less enough smelting time. The pile of ingots has to grow, you know, especially that one plate is like 2 ingots anyway. And hey, my wife completely unpromptedly made a clay oven. I guess she's entering her baking era now. Cool. So she put it in the kitchen area in the new building, and after some instructions from me as to how to heat it up, she was already making pies. And apparently you can make a turnip pie. This probably comes as no surprise at this point, but I thought pies were only fillable with fruits. But apart from the pies, she also started making flour in the quern and baking her own bread. And best part? Apparently you can use a bucket with water to make more dough per 1 click than with a jug. I was always making dough with a jug. I feel stupid now. But anyway, as a punishment, I sent myself to the mines once more. More bronze is more bronze. But this time I actually overstayed a bit, and with my mental health reaching as low as 10%, my mind started spawning hardest enemies in very tight corridors. All while I got lost in my own strip mine. I did manage to get out, but holy if it wasn't bottom clenching for a second there. And hey, you can actually see Dave if your sanity is low enough. I actually thought he was only a temporal storm situation, but I guess he came down to earth as my personal therapist now. At least this time I had actually a lot of copper to show for my insanity. So bronze making can continue uninterrupted. Or at least semi-uninterrupted, since real life sleep is important too.
Let's go sleep so we can start playing tomorrow and immediately start baking more bread.
You're addicted to this game, you know?
Let's go!
Just as much as the in-game sleep, especially when our bedroom looks better and better. Apparently she has been trading with the locals and spending our gears on little things like this painting. Ah, cool. My wife has become not only the local chef and farmer, but also a trader. She started spending a lot of time walking up to their camp and buying all sorts of things, even carpets.
All while I still continued to pour hot molten metal into molds to make sure we survive our dungeon expedition that's still looming over us. I mean, the armor is pretty expensive overall, but I think we might have enough bronze now. Of course, I am not stopping with the bronze and tool making anytime soon anyway, but yeah, I finally started smithing some of the first weapons we will take to the archives, a bunch of bronze spears. But also I had to smith my favorite thing, the metal parts of the shield. And I don't know if I'm alone on this or not, but smithing this freaking bronze button thing and also this circular piece of work is absolute pain. Just look at this evil thing. And look, the leather is soon to be ready. Scraped hides I put in the weak tanning are soaked, so I moved them to the strong tannin for a second bath, which will take around 4 days. And this is when we'll get our first leather. Even the temporal storm is not going to stop us now, and especially my wife, who's just preparing breads and all kinds of things for the travel, even through the storm. But also the healing items. She made a few more, not too many yet, but the number is still slowly going up. And after the storm, we noticed our first pumpkin. Literally, first time I see one in Vintage Story. No idea what she'll do with them, but I trust there is 100 different recipes that they can be used in. But anyway, we decided to go on a little horsetail and cattail run. We need to grab as many of those two plants to make as many healing items as possible. So while my wife was gathering things mostly on her own, since she took the scythe, I was running around the forest and picking up stuff by hand. And of course, no adventure is complete without some wolf attacks and stuff. That's always fun around here. But hey, more hides for leather making is always nice. But then we stumbled upon some bees, and pretty close to our home too. We'll need to remember this tree for future beekeeping. Then some more wolf fights, and also some mushroom gathering. Apparently those are shiitake mushrooms. I had no idea that's in the game, of course. And then we noticed a bear, and since we have some experience with those, we decided to try our luck and try to hunt it for leather. Well, I guess we have some bear skin to tan now. But hey, the bear was attacking local boars, so of course we have to hunt some of those guys. They are too far to domesticate, but perfectly close enough to shish kebab. And yeah, being able to produce leather makes you look at animals slightly differently, you know? And after that we started heading back, until I noticed a weird dark colored dirt. High fertility soil. I quite literally never laid my eyes upon such fine specimen of dirt, and while it will definitely not revolutionize our farming, I took it anyway. After that, me and my wife split. She went back home, and I stayed to hunt some more game around here. And by game, I actually mean bears, mostly. Honestly, this land being overrun with predators kind of made me feel like a badass. I don't think I would ever try to hunt a bear without any water sources around before, and not only one, but two. And why don't we throw a freaking deer to that collection too? The meat haul started to look pretty good, not even going to lie. So I came back home, and here are the spoils. It's pretty alright, given that usually I would have either nothing or a couple of hair hides. So the leather production is absolutely at full speed right now. And you know what else is at full speed? The freaking pumpkins, apparently. When did they grow up so fast? All of a sudden it started getting colder. Frost was visible around some leaves, and the temperatures started reaching 0 in some areas. Sure, we should have enough food to survive colder temperatures, but it is still worrying that it's coming so soon. So we started looking into making some fur coats. Of course, we left it for the last moment after all. Since my wife had all the ingredients, she made both. But we still needed the boots and gloves for the full anti-wintery effect. So I decided that the fastest way to make them is of course go and hunt some bears. And so I ventured north, and it really didn't take that long to spot a bear. He's running away from me because he's chasing things. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I got 2 shot by a brown bear, so I respawned and ran for a couple of minutes back to the place where I valiantly died. Quickly picked up all the items, and then spotted my target once more. No, I'm killing him 100%. He just got lucky. There's something wrong with this bear. Well, kill me once, shame on you. Kill me twice, shame on you, again. So I respawned and traveled a couple of minutes to my dev spot again. And No! I threw it at him like 5 times or 6 already. Why is he still alive? Grizzly bear? Is that a grizzly bear? Nope, it wasn't a grizzly bear, and it got so bad to the point where I was running in complete darkness now to my items, navigating mostly by the vibes. I killed him.
I killed him!
Yay!
I killed him! But my happiness was short-lived, just like me. I don't have anything to eat. Nothing. I am dead from starvation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, did I mention I'm doing all of it for shoes? After respawning for the billionth time, I decided to actually come home and take some food with me this time. But of course, I did not take any torches, yeah. So after a bunch of stumbling around in the dark, I managed to miraculously get my items back. I came back home, cold and tired, but my archenemy, the northern brown bear of the gravel biomes, is going to be my shoes now. And the next day I noticed that those ingots will not turn into plates for armor on their own, so I finally started smacking some metal on the anvil. And there is a lot of smacking involved, because this pile needs to be at least 20 times larger for 2 armors. So yeah, that was my day. But my wife had a slightly different problem now. You see this white stuff? Yeah, it's snow in October. And that means that lady of the farm is soon to be lady of staying at home jobless, cause the crops are not going to make it. So she took her frustrations at me. Ow! Did you make a snowball? That's a thing? So of course I had to join in. And yes, I did not know how to make snowballs at first. That is freaking great. Can we hunt animals like this?
No, it doesn't deal damage.
And after all that, I got back to work. This time using the mod for automating smithing and stuff, since my hands were absolutely killing me. Anyway, I continued the road to Guinness World Record for the longest left click hold in the world, and the plate pile was slowly growing. And even my wife joined in on the fun of smelting bronze at this point. All hands on deck, I guess. So, more smithing, more piles, more crucibling. And we even started making the second anvil, the bronze one, for an upgrade. Thanks to that bronze anvil, we'll be able to smith some iron stuffs, someday. Not today though. Today is plate day. The plate pile must grow, the plate pile must be understood. Teachings of a famous Greek philosopher and potentially a smith, Plato, or so I've heard. Anyway, I climbed up to check on my leather barrels, and literally in the same second, a barrel opened. We finally have some leather on our hands, so I started making leather armors as base for the bronze brigantine. First, the leather jerkins, then the leather jerkins but for legs. But unfortunately we did not have enough leather for the head armor. And that's where my wife stepped in, handcrafted some bare head armor for us. I used some of the plates I made to make the brigantine armors for both chest and legs. And this is a beautiful sight. This is our ticket to the archives right here. But first, we had to go back to the treasure hunter we marked earlier to get the location of the archives. And when we got there, we noticed a freaking bear trapped in this guy's garden. I'm not even kidding at this point. So yeah, we ended up testing our armor way earlier than planned. After a beast was dealt with, we finally talked to the treasure hunter. We traded him a bronze pickaxe for a note containing the coordinates of the archives. And when we activated the note to reveal the location, turns out we had walked right past the archives during our limestone adventure. Talk about odds. So we went home, but my wife wanted to show me something real quick. And apparently she bought some wallpapers when I wasn't looking. She's really making this mud house into a proper home now. It's all slowly coming together. But one thing is not coming together that well though. The farm. Most of the crops are already dying due to the cold. Hopefully we have enough food stored for the winter, since it came quite quickly this time. So my wife decided to make a scythe and actually gather whatever is possible from those frozen fields. And I for one came back to make swords this time. The more tools we have for the archives, the better. All while bread is cooking in the oven, and this is strictly dungeon bread this time. No eating until we depart. Same goes for pies, apparently. So instead of eating, I started smithing some luxurious bronze arrows. Better to have them than not have them, you know? A bow might prove to be useful. So after all the preparations, all the smithing, collecting plants, we are finally prepared. This stuff should get us through the Resonance archives. A bit more worried about the food supplies, but that should also do, I think. So we split all the items, and we are ready to throw a challenge to the infamous Resonance archives of Vintage Story. And so we left. Overprepared? Underprepared? Or maybe just paired? We did not know. But we had a goal and knew exactly where to go. So we traveled through the same, now charted paths, only difference being overburdened with armor and traveling through freezing temperatures and snow. But with all honesty, we traveled much faster than last time, with a vague feeling of confidence. We traveled through muddy northern plains,
witnessed some unusually majestic pine trees, and slowly started chewing through the first of the supplies. And soon, we marched right into the familiar mountains. I knew this mountain range was too epic to be just there for no reason. This is the place where the Resonance Archive spawned in our world, and we literally camped here last time without knowing it. I tried looking for our old camp, but could not find it unfortunately. Maybe we left some supplies there, but oh well. So we decided to dig out a new one, to spend the night here yet again, and approach climbing the mountains in the morning. It is a huge day tomorrow. We started the day off with some climbing. Having bronze tools definitely helped in moving massive amounts of dirt and building makeshift bridges and dirt stairs to slowly but surely scale the mountain. But apart from the obvious, we also had to watch out for any snow or stray rocks falling on our heads when we dig. Yeah, they push you back when they hit you, so one wrong block and we're gone. But hey, at least the sun is slowly rising, and that makes mountain climbing just a tiny bit more safe. And after just a couple of minutes of jumping 100 blocks above ground, we made it. We are at the top of the Archives Mountains. It does not mean that the terrain is now safe, but at least we're not going to drop to our deaths, hopefully. So, we slowly made our way through the cracks and crevices of the mountain range, looking for the entrance to the Resonance Archives. It could quite literally be anywhere. But we had some trouble with that. Despite me knowing what it looks like, I could not see anything resembling an ancient door anywhere. And for a bit it seemed like we are kind of doomed to freeze up this mountain or starve. But then, as if by a stroke of blind luck, I noticed a small weird hole in the dirt. Oh, I found it.
We enter?
I mean, yeah, let's go.
I'm scared how they might get down.
It's just a ladder here.
Oh my god, I hear music.
No, it's not music.
I'm gonna cry.
And I guess now we have the... yeah.
Spawn point. I'm not sprinting.
Ever?
Thank you.
It's okay. Bell Workshop. Okay, this is closed. I think we have to go down actually, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, engineering. I think this is where we have to go actually.
Are those holes big enough to fall?
I don't think so.
Or...
Okay, so we have this room, and we kind of have to bring it back to life, I think.
How about now?
No, I mean, there's a boiler here, and we have to put some coal in here.
Do you have coal?
No, but it's like right there, if I remember correctly. And start it with your torch, I think, and that should do it. Now we should have lights soon.
What?
If I'm gonna see something, I'm gonna probably remember how to do it, but I don't remember what you do here actually. Okay, commons, I think we have to go here, if I remember correctly.
You don't deal much damage.
They do if we don't have good armor. But thankfully we managed to actually make some. In one of those rooms there was like a... oh yeah, this guy, don't open it. At the top, look.
Yeah.
It's the same layout, just upside down.
What's wrong with this place?
I don't know, there's some anomaly happening here. Okay, yeah, Bell Workshop is now open.
I'm just gonna use the temporal.
No, you're panicking. You don't have to.
Really?
Yeah, that's nice. When you don't like crouching in tight spaces.
No. Ah!
Okay, you can run through the... behind us. Oh my god, I actually... Okay, I managed to kill him. Okay, I need my items back. Yeah.
There's more of this gear stuff.
Okay, we have the thing. Grab this large temporal gear. This is what we came here for. We have to put this gear in its right place. There's a jump here, watch out, also.
Oh.
Yep, nice. We have to go through this thing here. Just have to stand here like in Minecraft Portal and it's gonna get you where you need to go. Okay, good thing we took this healing stuff. Actually huge. Oh, I think we found it. I think it's here. It's like actually really hidden. Yeah. Okay, grab the thingy from the top.
I should have just stand there like in front of the last door and you just like collect stuff around.
But you're supposed to be the one experiencing this though.
I'm gonna cry.
You like only the farming part.
Yeah, I like the chill part. Okay, I put it.
You put it?
Yep.
Should have stayed at home and do some farming and cooking and
Yes.
stuff. Oh yeah, the library is open.
No, those huge doors are the library.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god.
Okay, this is the time to shine. And I'm not gonna be talking anymore, I think. You see this thing in the middle of the room? Jump.
I jumped on. Whoa.
Yeah, he does that. Oh my god. I also need to heal. Oh, I got him.
Oh my god. Ah.
Okay.
Right.
Don't worry, you're gonna come back to farming soon.
Oh.
People were screaming at me last time that I didn't fire this. Okay, so now, last time I explored the whole library in the
In
dark.
complete darkness.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I wanna live here. Yay. It's nice here. Where is it? Oh.
This in the display. I think you can grab it. Wow.
Bye.
Make some vodka, ale and wine and forget about this place. The archives are officially completed, so we started slowly descending from the mountain and right into our campsite. Time to rest before traveling back. And in the morning we started making our way back, but not without any issues. We were worryingly low on supplies, and the hunger was slowly setting, especially that we're going through whatever we brought kind of fast, so we had to resort to hunting on our way, which is not ideal in winter, because getting any sort of meat is kind of a rarity. And when meat was not an option anymore, we desperately resorted to cooking cattails. They barely fill you up, but I guess it's better than nothing. And for obvious reasons, we could not sleep either. That would be a death sentence, especially when we're already taking hunger damage while traveling. So we had to run in the dark, hungry and freezing. And whenever we spotted a trader, we always made sure to check for any cheap food. But of course we could not be that lucky. And after literally a night of healing through the hunger damage, we saw a glow in the distance, our home. We jumped over the fence and filled up our bellies with home pies. But also we used the temporal gears to swap the spawn points from the archives back to home. We don't want to die and respawn half a map away now, do we? And that concludes it. We're officially back, now only to survive this winter. And we have to do it somehow without the privilege of having any crops. So for now I just continued the leather stuff. It's always useful to have a surplus. And while I was doing that, a temporal storm hit, while my wife was out in the wilds trading with the traders. Oh, you have to sprint.
What? Where is home?
Well, I guess we have to start paying attention a bit more to the notifications in the chat. But hey, at least she made it back home and brought us some colorful clothes she bought, so I guess it was worth it after all. But she also bought ink and quill, apparently, and was already writing stuff on pieces of papers, which I guess she also bought. And she did all that only to give me a secret note. And next day I decided to go on a little hunt. Many of those in this video, but winter came very early and we need food for 2 people. Someone has to make sure that we don't starve together. Even found a small ruin in one of the caves I also explored. Not much there, but I did find some vintage beef, aged to perfection. But then when I was heading home, I stumbled upon yet another fun-sized, super fast bear. So of course, I met my demise. With all the hides and meat from the hunt dropped on the ground now, I came back yet again to get my revenge and the stuff. But we traded 1 for 1 this time.
Again?
So I came back for the 2nd time, straight from the spawn, and quickly took my items, or at least most of them anyway, since I did lose 1 bag somewhere. And while I was inspecting my kill, another bear rolled up to the party. Oh, yes!
Oh no.
So I came back for the 3rd time to the place and picked up whatever was left from my stuff. The 2nd bear was nowhere to be seen all of a sudden. I finally came back home, freezing and defeated. But on a positive note, at least the farming lady made some changes around the house. We have a mold holder now, and no, I did not know this was a thing. We also got a nice little deer trophy above the main doors in the mud house, which honestly was only a small addition compared to the rest, because the inside yet again went over a total makeover. We have some scrolls now, with quills, and apparently a bookshelf with some lore books, and some books that my wife actually crafted from leather and trader paper. But that's not all, because I left only for a split second to check up on my leather stuffs, and when I came back, the inside of the mud house was fully wallpapered now. But then I noticed that while carving the monsters, she's actually actively looking for flags, and she did not want to tell me why. She even went as far as to walk around an open temporal rift and farm monsters for flags, a thing she would not have the courage to do when she just started playing. Well, I guess whatever she's making is a surprise. She even needed to use a smithy, apparently, to make shears to get some sticks, I guess. And after all that secrecy, here it was. She made a glider from the archives schematic. I have no idea how she managed to keep it a secret from me, honestly. But the next day we climbed the mountain next to our house. We needed a vantage spot to test our new flight equipment.
It does.
Well, that was fast. I don't see you
Whoa.
anymore. Oh my god. Yeah.
Nice.
It is kind of nice. And after all that flying around, we came back to the ground. It's always nice to have one of those in the times of need, but we have more stuff to do. So we ventured out yet again, this time in search of quartz. And that really did not take very long, since it's quite literally everywhere here. We need to replace those stick windows in our house with some actual glass. Of course, starting with the mud house, since it's my wife's personal pet project. But we also never touched any chiseling, so we tried some. But yeah, apparently chiseling makes the wallpaper disappear on the other side of the chiseled block, so that's kind of annoying. So my wife started trying out ideas how to cover it up, since we really didn't have any more wallpaper, or money to buy more. We tried several different things, ultimately settling on a Minecraft solution to a vintage story problem. Don't like wall? Trapdoors. And yeah, a small update on leather as usual. This is the first time we actually managed to have surplus, since we don't really use it on anything anymore that much. So I decided to go into the northern tin and copper deposits to gather some. And after smelting this whole thing at home, I finally crafted brigantine helmets for us. The only part of the armor we never really truly managed to get. And in perfect time too, since shivers like to attack unsuspecting blocky men, I guess. I closed the door!
No, he closed it after he came in.
Hold the door!
It's okay, baby girl. I got you, baby girl. Okay, he doesn't have anything. Let's go sleep. Weeping.
And the next day I went out to mine more coal. This is only one coal vein out of like 3 or 4 that we found, and it has lasted us almost a year now. While at the same time, my wife made more pots and clay works. But not without reason. While making some candles for the house, she got caught in the classic vintage story moment. The pot she used to make candles is no longer suitable for cooking. And yeah, that happens after making candles. But apart from that, she was making even more books. She made a huge bookcase and will slowly be filling it up with books made from my surplus leather. But apart from that, we noticed that wearing armor actually increases your hunger rate by quite a bit. So we made some armor stands and decided to only wear it when absolutely necessary. But yeah, due to overall cold, the hunger rate is still quite high even without the armor, even if slightly better. So the next day I went out for some more hunting. Lack of any farm crops is starting to actually hurt us a bit. And yeah, what I managed to get was mostly just some smaller animals, and pretty much only one deer. This is not going to cut it long term, but we don't have much choice. And while I was away, a temporal storm warning started to sound. Somehow I yet again missed the memo and went out hunting right before the storm, it seems. Armor makes you hungry, but lack of it makes you an extremely easy target for anything that wants you dead. Sorry. Oh, I got one shot.
You died.
I got one shot, dude. I respawned at home, thanks to the temporal gears we used after the archives, but since I had no way of surviving that storm like that, I decided to wait most of it out before grabbing my items back. The only problem being, they might despawn before it actually gets safe. So after a couple of anxious minutes of waiting, I decided to risk it anyway.
Leave me alone, mister. Leave me alone. Okay, it's waning, nice.
And then, after fighting my way through this horror, the temporal storm actually started going away.
Okay, I managed. Oh, I got everything, I think.
I quickly came back home, and apparently someone had just as bad of a night as me. And apparently she died while trying to trade with the traders, buying this little neat thing, a metal sign, or a plaque. So to put the cherry on top, we decided to write who lives here, just in case any drifter decides to doubt that some weirdos do. And the next day, more hunting. Honestly, I burn more food while hunting than I ever bring back home. But right now we are not exactly swimming in supplies. And while I was on one of those hunts, I spotted some fruit trees to plant. Not like they're going to have time to grow, but I got them anyway for our farm. But yeah, after each hunt I was always coming back home to a hot bowl of food, which in retrospect might have been the downfall of us, because I definitely was not doing great, bringing home scraps. Usually. Well, at least it was not affecting our moods that much. And yeah, my wife was less worried about the food supplies and more about the dyes she started to make in the barrels. Honestly, she surpassed me in the vintage story knowledge, I admit it. I have no idea how to make dyes, not to mention knowing that they're used to color the book covers. In the morning I crafted some bow staves for future hunting bows, maybe to try out something new or maybe out of desperation, because we are really not doing great with food right now. Most stuff that we do hunt are bears, and bears give meat that is not very usable when it comes to cooking, and it's also not very filling. Although I must admit, we did get pretty good at hunting them overall. We are the product of our surroundings, I guess. So we decided to try a different approach to food production. We crafted some traps and started building a pen, or a coop rather, for future chicken farming. I built a little plot for them, connected to our farm from the south, and then split into two different chicken plots. No idea why, but that's what I did, and I'm pretty sure I fixed it later. And my wife crafted the grain boxes for them, so they can actually eat something when they get here. And after all that, we went out for the final ingredient of a chicken farm, the chickens. And it really did not take that long. We found our first rooster pretty much immediately. My wife put the trap down and some grain as bait, and it didn't work. Trap misfired without trapping the chicken. So we tried again, and again, and again. And after spending almost an entire evening trying to capture this damn rooster, he finally got caught, thank God. And we still need the female roosters, the roosterinas. So we went back home and released the rooster in our pen. And the next day, hens. We spotted a bunch of them east from our house, in the hilly area. So we set up a bunch of traps to capture them. And this time it went quite smoothly, thankfully. Probably because there was a bunch of them in one spot. So we grabbed the captured hens and came back home. And here we released them and embraced as our new perfectly happy farm animals. So happy in fact that one of them escaped immediately and ran straight into our big house. And our only option was to try to capture it with a box again. Although that hen was quite weird overall.
Hello.
What's wrong with this hen?
Well, we decided to let the trap do its magic. Well, we totally left it alone for the problem to resolve itself, so we left it overnight. And the next day I woke up and immediately checked up on the house chicken, and thankfully it's already caught. So I released her into the much colder but more chicken appropriate living quarters. And our chickens are now safe, and slowly will start breeding, hopefully. Apart from that guy. Apparently having 2 roosters results in one losing a fight to the other one. And while we were wondering what happened, my wife dropped some serious chicken lore.
Georgina set them up so both Georges fight, but they're brothers. But she did it so yellow George kills the blue George, and Georgina gets to be with the yellow George.
I mean, she was really invested in the chickens, spying on them every time she got a chance, and I was totally not doing the exact same thing. But yeah, we don't have anywhere near the chicken capacity to actually sustain us, so for now we are stuck with the remaining grain and bread, and we need to be mindful to eat only when necessary too.
Look at this bread. Wow. Eat it like a true pig. Showing it up your face. Wow.
I wasn't even hungry.
You just ate all 4. Dude, we are running out of food.
So the next day we decided to try our luck with some honey making, and for that we will need scabs. So I sent my wife to grab some resources, and of course I tried helping as much as I could to make her work faster. But we also made a small pen for the bees, a bee pen. A bean. Here we'll put all our empty scabs and hopefully bring some bees to occupy this place. But for now we only have 1 scab and no bees, so we went out into the wilds to find some. And when we found the appropriate wild bee house with large enough population, we left our scab there and surrounded it with flowers to boost the bees' interest. If everything works out fine, we should have bees in no time. So in the evening, all hopeful and happy, we crafted more scabs and put them in the bean. So now we have to occupy ourselves with something. My wife decided to spend time gambling away with bony soil, and I spent time tending to the leather attic. I have way too much leather than I know what to do with, all because of all those bears, I guess. But apart from the boring leather stuff, I decided to go crazy. I never used bricks before, so I wanted to make some and test them out. So I went north to the red clay deposit and shoveled away the entire day. I need a lot of clay. Then I turned it all into bricks, raw bricks, mind you. And when night turned into a day, I went south from our farm to find a good spot for, well, a hell of a ton of fire pits to fire all of those raw bricks at once. So I dug out a bunch of holes in the ground, they had to fit all those stacks of bricks I have on me somehow, and then filled them up with 12 bricks each, since that's the maximum we were able to fire at once. So I did that for all the dirt holes, and it already looks kind of cool. Then I filled them all with grass. Then sticks go on top. Again, a lot of sticks. That can drive a man crazy, you know? Stick collection! Activation! Yikes, what's wrong with me? And then firewood, which is by far the easiest thing. And, well, unfortunately this absolute blizzard of a weather was putting the fires out. So I had to improvise and build some sort of a dirt roofing over the fire pits. And while it is not the prettiest thing in the world, it should do the trick. So I started igniting all the fire pits, and sure enough, it is working. And with each new flame, the construction looked more and more epic. We have a whole firing field now here. We are going to have a ton of bricks, I guess, assuming we won't go down in flames. And the next couple of days were days of hunting. I was absolutely trying to find anything to kill in those lands. And whenever I did get some meat, my wife was making meat pies from them. Again, I had no clue you can make meat pies. I was always either hunting small animals or animals that are really hard to catch, like those deer in the eastern mountains. But when I did get something, it was more of an exception from the rule rather than something usual. We had to somehow get by during this winter, cooking whatever we could. But hey, at least the chicken situation started looking a bit better. We finally have some young. Sure, they need some time to be slaughter-worthy, but maybe the next winter it will be easier, thanks to them. And same goes for the future fruit trees. My wife finally planted some of them next to the vine bushes. They have a 60% chance of not surviving, but I guess it's better than nothing. Especially that my wife tried planting some rye, since it's the most cold-resistant crop. But it did not survive, unfortunately. But we need to look at the positives. Maybe we'll be starving soon, but hey, in style at least. The bricks are ready. But in my usual fashion, I totally forgot to make something. I forgot that brick blocks require mortar. So I quickly ground up some limestone and started cooking it up on the fire to make quicklime. Then I gathered some sand from the nearby Amazon sand store, and then the quicklime was ready. So I mixed 40 of it with 10 liters of water, making a concoction known as slaked lime. And then I added 1 piece of sand for every liter of this thing, so 40 to make 320 units of mortar. So now I can make the freaking bricks. And I decided that I want to upgrade the second house a bit. I have no idea what it will look like, but I really want to swap some things around here. So I started replacing all the planks with bricks, and I played a bit with some wood and detail work. And then I decided to also completely remove the forge from the house, because why is it here in the first place? Then I replaced more blocks and added more wooden thingies in between blocks for that rustic feel, and then flattened the ground behind the house. This is where the new smithy will go. So I built a little house attachment, combining cobble fences and some thatch roofing. And for the ground I decided to go with some packed dirt. It is technically outside after all. And hey, it doesn't look half bad this way. I added some hay on the side, so it looks more farmy, and added some texture to the floor too, using mostly gravel. And hey, here we go. A fully open and probably slightly dangerous to use outside attached smithy. Everything we need is here, and it looks kinda cozy too. And the building itself now looks a bit more like something between a barn and an 18th century house. No idea if that's better than before, but I actually kind of like it. This place is truly looking like an entire farm now, which is good because that's kinda what it is. And the next day I went out for another hunt, or attempted I should say, because I found absolutely nothing to hunt here. Can the animals die of low temperatures? I don't know. So I came back home bringing a whole 2 red meats. That's a new record. And when I checked up on our supplies, it was worse than I thought. We had exactly 0 food, and winter was still upon us. Well, the cellar is not the most happy place right now, and I was just about to risk it all and go for another hunt, but that would only take more food than I would probably bring. So my wife had another idea. We went to the traders to literally trade for food. I've never done it before, but it honestly felt like our only option right now, so we had to do it. If we are to survive the low temperatures, we need to eat something. So we did a little list of what to craft, so that we can sell it to the traders for some gears. So when we came back home, we were actually kind of playing a different game. All of a sudden we were crafting things to sell it for some economical benefit, you know. I was smithing stuff for selling because otherwise we starve. And after all was ready, we came back and sold everything for a fair price. And funny enough, this almost seemed sustainable. We actually had some food again. And not only breads and stuff, but cheese, soups, stews. We might have just saved ourselves from a slow starvation death. And best part, the temperatures were slowly rising already, enabling us to yet again plant some of the crops. So I guess we're going to survive after all. But I also went out into the wilds to check up on our bees, but no luck. For some reason they did not want to migrate at all, and I had no idea why. So I started running around with the beehive trying to find some more suitable wild bees. Unfortunately, pretty much all of the ones I found were either poor population or they were really far away. And what is even more funny, I actually found quite a few of them, all of them poor. So I came back the next day trying to find more bees in the west, and I actually did. The only other large population wild beehive on this planet, it seems. So I did the same thing as last time and covered up our skep with as many flowers as I could, and you know, crossing my fingers that it will work this time. And hey, the next day we noticed that one of our crops actually grew, and it is in stage 2. That proves it. Farming is again possible. So that's kind of what we were doing for the next couple of days, trying to get this farm to work again. But we also went out to check up on our bees finally. And when we got to the place, it is working. The bees are slowly swarming, and all we had to do was wait a vague less than a day. While the skep is patiently waiting for its new inhabitants, we used this time to gather as many seeds and flax and whatever that was growing here. And after just a bit of running around, we found a whole pack of wild boars. You don't see them for a year, and all of a sudden they're just chilling right here.
I lost my spear.
Spear. And when we came back to the bees, they have finally migrated. We officially have bees, so we quickly made our way home. And when we got there, my wife took the honors of putting the bees in the bean. But our time has run out. We have reached the 100th day, the moment we put that skep in our farm.
we have survived Vintage Story together. We have built a cozy farm with crops, chickens and all kinds of crazy things. And I think it's safe to say that my wife got just as addicted to this game as I am. Even past the 100 days, she still decided to cook some stuff and take care of our chickens just a tiny bit longer. And while initially this video was not supposed to be a 100-day one, I am glad that we did it this way. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a good time and I hope that you will watch some of my other videos too. But for now, bye bye.
Just normally, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.